Today, we're going to talk about student support and student services and what you should look for at a law school. So let's dive in. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dr. Nadia Castriota. I'm the Director of Law Student Success and one of the admissions consultants here at Barrier Breakers. By no means do I make myself the expert in student support and student services, but in my experience as a Dean of Admissions and as a Director of Admissions, I've had plenty of students come during the application process and ask important questions such as, what type of support does your law school have? What are the resources that are available to me? So I think this is a really important topic for us to dive into. Yes, it's important to incoming students. It's important to prospects when you ask and get to know law schools. And it's just as important to current students to know what's available to them. So let's go ahead and dive in and talk a little bit about that. What does student services or student support look like in a law school? It is an essential part of the law school, probably the most important once you become a current student. It can include several things, such as, legal writing research and resources. It could include advising and counseling for academics, counseling for conflicts that you may have while you're at the school. It could involve mental health resources. There's a gamut of things that could fall under student support and student services. So it's so important that you ask those questions when looking at law schools, or even when, like I said, as a current student during orientation or when you're visiting schools, to find out what are the resources that are available to you. Student services, like I said, student support, that person that's over that department, whether it's a dean of students or a dean of student services, dean of student support, dean of student engagement, director of student support, any person that's over that department, get to know them well. Because at any point after the admissions process, and I laugh about this only because as a dean of admissions, I would always say during orientation that we're breaking up with the students and we're handing them off to student support and student services. And that's not true. We are always there for our students. They come back to our office as the first line of defense as they're going through the process. But most times we introduce you to the dean of students so that as a current student, you can go and find out, again, these resources that are available to you. So find out who that person is on campus, make an appointment to speak with them, find out, what the resources are. Go to the website to see what's going on campus. You can find out which student organizations are active, which ones they have, which ones they don't have. And maybe if they don't have one that you are interested in, you could possibly talk to that person, that administrator, to find out how you can even reactivate or start that organization on campus. So, like I said, so many different things, but it is an essential part of the law school setting and environment for the students, and one of the most important departments that you should get to know during the process and while you're on campus. Some of the things that come to mind for me that I've had students bring up and ask questions about during the process have to do with academic support, mental health and counseling resources, and what are opportunities for them outside of the classroom. So first, I want to touch a little bit on the academic support. Any law school that you go to, you definitely want to ask this question: what does my academic support look like? Yes, you have your faculty that you can lean on, and yes, you have your deans that you can lean on, and there will be a law library on campus and technology and all that great stuff. But what does your support bubble look like, and what services do they have for you? What resources do they have for you? For example, is there a writing center on campus? Is there an academic support group, meaning faculty that run academic support for law school? Who are those faculty members and how do you get to know them? What are the services that they provide? How often do they meet with students? Is it incorporated in the curriculum? That could include writing workshops, that could include research workshops, that could also include exam preparation and study skills, helping you figure out how to do this. Remember, especially in your first year, even if you came in with a 4.0 plus from undergrad, law school is very, very different. and you should be open to just taking in all these different things that will help you succeed. You might find that what worked for you in undergrad might not work for you in law school, right? So it's good to be open to find out what resources are available to you and use them. You may not, but you never know. You might find something that works for you. So again, just keep in mind academic support, very important, but who are those people that are there to help you get through academically? In addition to the academic support, there's also advising. And these faculty members might also help you in class selection. I mentioned exam preparation, study strategies and study skills, time management, which that one is so important, the time management. Again, this is a totally different place for most people coming in. You will be learning new things about yourself in terms of how it works in law school and what are the ways that are going to keep you focused. Do you study better at night? Do you study better in the evening? Do you study better with groups, or do you study better alone? Again, things are very different in law school. And so, we always say just be open, especially in the first year. Yes, you want to do well, and you are going to do well because you were admitted to the school. So the school believes in you that you will be successful, and they have the resources out there. You should definitely not be afraid to ask questions and seek out the resources in the academic area. So the next thing I want to bring up that is just as important as the academic resources is the mental health resources or wellness resources that are available for students. Often encompass counseling services and workshops on stress management. It could also be on time management and access to mental health professionals. As you can imagine, these resources are super important to students, and it is a very private conversation, obviously, when you're talking to that person asking about these things. And I think that my personal opinion, again, which means nothing, but I think that students seeking out the resources and the support, especially for counseling and mental health and well being, is so important. Sometimes we don't understand the stress that we're going through physically, emotionally, spiritually, and just having access to these things can make a huge difference and a huge impact. When you're looking at law schools, find out what type of mental health and well-being resources they have available to you. Who are the people that you can go to if you're having one of those days? Look, law school is hard. It is not easy, but we know you can do it. And again, I mentioned before that the law school knows that you can do it. They admitted you because they know that you would be a great fit, that they believe in you. We want to make sure that you have all the things that you need to be successful. But you also have to do your part in this, right? Which is making sure that you ask the questions and sometimes recognizing that you do need additional support or additional help. And I'm not saying that that's easy by no means. Even for me, sometimes, I'm ripping and running. I have two little ones, and I did a dissertation, and it is definitely not easy going to school and multitasking and having all these things on your plate. But at some point, if you're not being productive and you're not being your best you, then you have to recognize that there might be something else that you need. And maybe that is even to step out and talk to someone, or to step out and take a breath, take a moment and reset. And however you reset, right, just be real and figure out what works for you. And a part of that might be finding out, again, is there a gym on campus? Do I have access to maybe yoga classes? Or is the campus walkable? Can I take a walk in between classes just to refresh? But these are all questions you can ask your student support person to find out, what are the things that other students are doing, or even asking other students when you visit the current students that are there. Ask them how they handle stressful events or exams or the first week of classes, and how did they transition into law school, and how did they survive the first year, and does it get easier? Did it get harder when picking classes in second year or third year? And these are things that this student support person or office can connect you with, whether it's giving you the resources that they have available on campus or pointing you in the right direction so that you can talk to a current student. For example, let's talk about moms going back to school or non-traditional students or students that have to work while they're in school. Maybe you want to talk to someone that, has a similar story to yours. And again, you can ask that student support person if there's an organization or group on campus that you can get involved with, or do they have any current students in similar situations that you can kind of just pick their brain to see if they can give you any pointers or let you know that it's going to be okay, because sometimes that's what you need, just to hear that you can do it and it's going to be okay, or take a breath and decompress. And so those are things that the student services support department can kind of lead you in the right direction for collaboration and access and belonging and just a conducive learning environment for you to succeed. Another area that student services covers in a law school setting is opportunities outside of the classroom. So yes, what you do in the classroom is very important, but also the things that you get involved in on the outside are just as important. So talking about student organizations and programming and student government. Student government, I say that because for undergrads, that's probably what is most relatable, but it is the Student Bar Association once you are in law school. But yes, there is a president and a vice president, and those are opportunities for students to get involved in, even in the first year. I would be remiss if I didn't say in your first year, it is a balancing act, right? Yes, you want to get involved, and all these things are super excited coming onto campus or at your law school, but you also want to make sure that you do balance, because I mentioned before that this is a different world for you academically, and then you can get involved because these other things look wonderful on your resume, and you can network and meet 2Ls and 3Ls and the faculty that work with these organizations. But at the same time, you want to make sure that you don't overdo it or overextend yourself, right? So yes, get involved. Most schools during orientation week will do a fair where student organizations introduce themselves so you can see which ones are active on campus and meet the student e-boards and the members so that you can figure out which ones you want to get involved with. You can meet faculty advisors and ask them questions as well. Find out what type of programming that they have on campus and off campus so that you can see if you want to get involved, what type of community service projects they have, and if any of these organizations mesh well with an area of concentration for you. There are lots of these organizations that are connected to concentration areas or a particular area of law that you are interested in. So I think it's a great opportunity, not only for you to meet your law school community, but for you to get involved. And it looks great on a resume. A few other things that I should mention that falls under the student services umbrella is Title IX, student conduct, any conflicts that you may have or complaints, making sure that you feel psychologically safe on campus. What is your campus culture, diversity, inclusivity, and belonging? And please, I know I mentioned these in a particular order, but all of them for me are equally important. Culture on a campus is so important. You are selecting a law school that you want to love and be comfortable with and comfortable in that setting for the next 3 years as you go through your law school journey. So when looking at law schools, do ask about the culture, visit the campus if you can, talk to current students and administration, because it is important that you feel like it is a good fit for you. And that's another podcast when I talk about campus setting and what to do when you visit. But the student services person is a great person to start with, to ask about culture and community. And is it safe for you? And what are the steps that they take to keep students safe? The other part of that is diversity, inclusivity, and making sure that it, again, connects with you, right? What are some of the things that student services do to support the diverse community? How are they making sure that students are included and it is an inclusive community on campus? What programmings do they have, or what trainings do they have in this area? And talk to current students as well. Find out from them, their take and if they love their school and what makes them comfortable on campus. What are the things that they love about their law school? Ask difficult questions nicely, but ask difficult questions. You are looking for the right law school for you. The other thing that I mentioned is Title IX and misconduct. Obviously, this is so important at any point during your law school journey. If you or a friend or classmate, or if you witness anything at all that you feel you need to report or should report, or even if you're not sure but want to talk to an administrator about it, do that by going to student services. Most times the Title IX coordinator is the person that's found in the student services department, and they can lead you in the right direction. Please don't hold that to yourself. It is so important that you talk to someone. If something happened to you or someone that you know, or if you witnessed anything, find out what the steps are to report or even to talk with someone about it. Again, that goes hand in hand. And when you talk to your student services person, or if you need to speak privately to a counselor, but do go to the people there to start to find out what direction you should take to make sure that you are headed in the right direction, or that you have the help that you need. So I know that I dropped a lot on you today, talking about several resources and support and services that come from the student support or student affairs, there's so many names for this department, right? But always ask for the dean of students. That's the person you want to ask about. They'll point you in the right direction and introduce you to their staff and let you know who does what in this department. Make sure that you ask questions. It is so important. Don't be afraid to ask questions. You'll hear me say that to students all the time, because we don't know what you want to know. Just like I can be talking right now and not hit any points that you wanted to know about, which I hope I did, in terms of just giving you hints or tools about student services and student support in a law school setting. I hope that you found this helpful. And please, if you did, please like and share it with your friends. If you'd like to get in contact with us, please look for us on social media, and we love to answer questions. We appreciate that you're listening and supporting us. Thank you so much.